I have to say the only reason I am doing this is because Jess within the Discord has pressurized me. Has pressurized me. I promised yesterday that I would jump on and do chapter 6, and I woke up to a message saying, do you word online? Get a friend like Jess, people, because it'll make you do things you didn't want to do. You can see I'm like a bottle of wine in tonight. Read us Sawayama. Let's go. Chapter 6. Scary stories. This is an Audible production. I sat in my room trying to concentrate on the third act of Macbeth. We're already on Shakespeare. Great. What a great way to set the tone. I was really listening for my truck. I would have thought, even over the pounding rain, I could have heard the engines roar. But when I went to peek out the curtain again, it was suddenly there. I wasn't looking forward to Friday, and the more it lived up to my non-expectations. Of course, there were the fainting comments. Jessica especially seemed to get a kick out of that story. Luckily, Mike had kept his mouth shut, and no one seemed to notice about Edward's involvement. She did have a lot of questions about lunch, though. What did Edward Cullen want yesterday? Jessica said in trig. I don't know, I answered truthfully. Oh, he's never really got a point. You looked kind of mad, she fished. Did I? I kept my expression blank. Sorry, did I? She's emotionless. You know, I've never seen him sit with anyone but his family before. That was weird. Weird, I agreed. She seemed annoyed. She flipped her dark hair. She flipped her dark curls impatiently. I guess she'd been hoping to hear something that would make a good story for her to pass on. The worst part about Friday was that even though I knew he wasn't going to be there, I still had hope. Oh, Bella! But when I walked into the cafeteria with Mike, why are we spending so much time in the cafeteria? Like, Americans, let me know. Is like the cafeteria like, is that like, is the cafeteria like the America version of like 50 Cent's Indoor Club? Like, is that the place where like the goss happens? La Cafeteria. Because I know that one scene from High School Musical, and it looked like a great time, but I don't think Edward Cullen, he's not interested in that, is he? All of this together, then we know where we are, and we see it. What do you know what? High School Musical was a bop. You know what? I loved High School Musical. I don't care what anyone says. Take on me, at me, slip into the DMs. I think I'll fight anyone who says High School Musical wasn't one of the greatest things that ever came out of the 21st century. I said it. I mean, the rest of them were rubbish. Don't get me wrong. But High School Musical OG is like, that's top-notch entertainment. Twilight is not. The worst part about Friday, yes, she had hope. When I walked into the cafeteria with Mike and Jess, I couldn't keep from looking at his table with Rosalie. I'll have to watch the film and figure it out. Don't ask. Why is it so blue, the film? People I've started to use GIFs. People in the Discord keep talking about it. Like, it's very blue-hued, I think we'd say in Welsh. Rosalie, Jasper, and Alice sat talking, heads close together. How close are their heads? Like, as if they're like in an American football. Like, oh, come on, guys! Like, what are we gonna do about Edward? Where were they yesterday? But they were ditching. I couldn't stop the gloom that engulfed me. Oh, looks like Dakota Warren's in this book. I don't care. I don't care. Let the gloom engulf me. Dakota is the reason why they split it into North and South. I said it. What are you going to do about it? I've had wine. You don't care, do you? We're just... At my usual table, everyone was full of our plans on the next day. Mike was animated again. He was real life yesterday, but now they've like properly drawn him. It's great. Put in a great deal of trust in the local weatherman who promised sun tomorrow. I don't this stupid, but I'd have to see that before I believed it. What, the sky? I mean, to be fair, all she does is look down at her feet and go, Edward Cullen. Maybe if she just like looked up, she'd be like, this sky. Wow, isn't that amazing? She wanted to quit it. Hold up. Bella Swan wanted to go to Seattle to go clothes shopping. I feel as though, like, I imagine like a hot gossip. That's a local cafe. What's it called? Hot topic. Imagine like this is like a hot topic sort of thing. Blue Banana if you're in the UK. Sort of situation. But like I feel Bella's like very inconsistent. She doesn't know what she wants. And who she does want is someone who drags her into the car and says, "Shut up and listen to classical music." Oh, can you imagine? At my usual table, blah blah. I've drunk too much. I don't even know where I am. Oh, he was animated. Yeah, he was dressed up. They did him as SpongeBob SquarePants in this. I'd have to see that before I believed it. But it was warmer today, almost 60. Remember, 69 is nice in Fahrenheit, so in Celsius, that's a good temp. Maybe the outing, maybe the outing wouldn't be completely miserable. I id Killjoy, a fun sponge. That's what Bella is. Bella fun sponge. If the Scrub Daddy is the peak entertainment of the sponge world, the antithesis is Bella Swan. I was right behind her. Just she's met some person called Laura. We don't need to read over the sentence. There's nothing. Lauren's not going to be a major part of this. I can already tell. I was right behind her, just a foot from her slick silver blonde hair. She was evidently unaware of that. It's stalkery. Don't know why Bella, she sneered my name. Doesn't just sit with the colours from now on. I heard her muttering to Mike. Ooh, cafeteria scandal. I never noticed what an unpleasant nasally voice she had. Wow, did everybody just like at me? I think my nasality is a blot, but a blot of joy. If my nasality was a blot, it's a really positive Rorschach test. You're welcome, people. I was surprised by the malice in it. I really didn't know her well at all. Certainly not well enough for her to dislike me. Also, I thought, I love the little I'm on the last word. It's like it's your point of view. Like no one else can like interrupt this story of yours, Bella. Yet still, somehow, she's like, allow me. She's my friend. She sits with us, Mike whispered back, loyally, but also a bit territorial. Ooh. I paused to let Jess and Angela pass me. I didn't want to hear anymore. Walk away. Don't walk like a foot behind Lauren. Minor character Lauren. Maybe this is a you problem, not a we problem. That night at a dinner, Charlie. I hate that she calls her father Charlie. Like I hate it with a passion. It's the same disgust I have. So my dad always calls me son. And I can't tell you the bile and anger that seeps up behind my eyes every time he goes, "Oh, well, son." It's like, mate, you named me. You had to sign my birth certificate. Like, you know my name, Papa. I don't call him Papa. Calm down. Charlie seemed enthusiastic about my trip in La Bouche in the morning. I think he felt guilty for leaving me home alone on the weekends, but he'd spent too many. All you've asked for is to be alone. So what now? Now he should feel guilty. Oh, I don't care. Of course, he knew the names of all the kids who were going, and their parents, and their great grandparents too. Are not the grandparents. Sorry, mate. Yo's their names, the parents, great grandparents. He's like, "No, I didn't study for that. That was on the test." He seemed to approve. I wondered if he would approve of my plan to ride to Seattle with Edward Cullen. Not that I was going to tell him. So what was what was the point? I kind of thought in the last chapter, I was like, where's the Seattle bit going? Like, are we even going? I don't think we're gonna go. You know what? I think Team Wolf's gonna come in. Team Wolf is just like he's gonna decimate it. He'll be like, "Oh, sorry, mate, you can't go to Seattle. Why? Pfft, road works." No, don't study for the exam. You don't need double down on what you know. If you don't know it now, you'll never know it. That's my piece of advice. You just double down on what you know. Dad, do you know a place called Goat Rocks or something like that? She's royalty now. I think it's south of Mount Rainier, I asked casually. Yeah, why? I shrugged. Some kids were talking about camping there. It's not a very good place for camping, he sounded surprised. Too many bears. Is that a thing Americans have to like contend with, like the amount of bears? I mean, there's a bear on a Californian flag, but I thought that was more symbolic than like bear country. Is that bear country? Who will learn some American will tell me. I know they will. Americans, they got my back on things like this. Anything I'm like, I don't understand that. Americans come through and they're like, I know the answer to this, and then we learn together. Good job, Diane. Oh, I murmured. Maybe I got the name wrong. She didn't. I meant to sleep in, but an unusual brightness awoke me. That's called the sun, my darling. It's called pathetic fallacy, but this book is just pathetic. I opened my eyes to see a clear yellow light streaming through the window. I couldn't believe it. Oh, wow, the sun, wow. It was in the wrong place in the sky, too. This is the best sentence. It was too low. That's called the crack of dawn. You're welcome, peeps. The sun moves in an arc. That's why when you wake up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, it's not slap bang noon. And when it is noon, you should have set your alarm a little bit earlier. Don't let the hours pass you by, people. If Molly taught me anything, we all got 24 hours in a day. So don't let those 24 hours be noon. Don't let those start at noon. Is her name Molly? What's her name? This is how little I cared for that entire situation. Molly. We'll go with Molly. Okay. We all got 24 hours in a day. Clouds ringed the horizon, but a large patch of blue was visible in the middle. I'm so bored reading this. I'm not going to lie. There's a YouTube short of a guy cooking steak that's way more interesting. Like they all cook steak, and they all butter their steak. So they go, "Oh, this is steak," and they eat the steak, and they go, "Haha, this tastes really good." Like there's videos that are more. Cam Casey is more interested in this, where someone like Oh, I don't know. They put a shoe in a blender and it turns into Coke and he goes, "Oh, does that really work?" And everyone's like, "Wow, Cam Casey, I wonder if Coke is blended up shoes." And then you watch like 19 of them. That's way more entertaining than this absolute garbage. This is malarkey twaddle. This is a is this a moment? Is this just hysteria? Have I reached a point where there's just no going back? So I feel as though that's where we're heading in Twilight, Chapter 6, Scary Stories. I had to sleep in after there was sun. The Newton's Olympic Outfitters store was just north of town. Oh, God, we're going to have a closed hall. I'd seen the store. I'd never stopped there, not having much need for any supplies requiring for being outdoors over an extended period of time. In the parking lot, I recognised my Suburban. He's just, but why do we even care? Like, I don't care. I don't care. Are they going to Seattle? Again, this is the subplot. I'm way more for it. Do you know what? Maybe this is the thing. Maybe Midnight Sun is where they finally reach Seattle. Is this just like Kerouac fan fiction? It's just called Not on the Road. It's just like, oh, should we go? And they go, something like that. They'll sit in the cafeteria for a while. As I pulled up next to their vehicles, I could see the group standing in the front of the Suburban. Eric was there, along with two of the boys I had class with. I was fairly sure. Oh, mate, it's just boring. I was fairly sure their names were Ben and Connor. Oh, what exhilarating names. Jess was there, flanked by Angela and Lauren. Whoa, that's a bit of a wide term. They flanked her. I've seen enough COD MW2 know that is not something that you want. Lauren shook out her corn silk hair and eyed me scornfully. So it was going to be one of those days. Mike was happy to see me. What a change. What a juxtaposition. You came, he laughed. Stop it. Stop laughing. Get your head up to the gutter. And I said it would be sunny today. Didn't I? I told you I was coming, I reminded him. You're better than this. You just waiting for Lee and Samantha, unless you invite someone. I'm a child. I'm a child. I'm not a teen. I'm not a young adult. Maybe if I was my age, I'll say I'm 21. But I've looked like I've been 40 since the age of 14. I didn't used to sell cigarettes to people who were 16. Don't know what you're talking about. I mean, Pam in the corner shop, she didn't know you had a beard. She was like, you gotta be about 50, haven't you, love? But I wonder how Pam's doing. We spoke about Alicia two vids ago, 2 chapters. I wonder how Pam is. Pam, she was lovely. She had no teeth. I don't think she particularly followed the rules of the law of the land. But what a lovely lady Pam was. Wow. Gubby Pam, her name was, because she had no teeth. Just in case you're ever wondering, just in case you're in that neck of the woods, and you get served by someone who clearly doesn't care. Gubby Pam. Funnily enough, you had to stop calling her Gubby Pam. I don't know, maybe people still call her Gubby Pam back home. She had dentures, so she wasn't gummy anymore. This is this is a journey. We're learning about each other, and what we've learned so far is that I don't think anyone cares about Twilight. That's what we've learned so far. But sadly, we're nearly 1 page away from 100 though. But I'm on this page, so we got 2 pages. Don't get too excited. Will you ride in my car? It's that old Lee's mum's minivan. Whoa, Lee's mum didn't ask for this. Sure, he smiled blissfully. It was so easy to make Mike happy. Don't patronize the man. You can have shotgun, he promised. I hid my... Now, I said chagrin before, and I got told off. I wasn't told off, I just got advised. It's chagrin. Chagrin. Let's just do it. Let's just wind people up. Chagrin. Chagrin. It's not a word commonly used upon my lexicon with about of the normal people I bother with. My chagrin. Chagrin. I hid my chagrin. It's a lovely word though. I don't know what it means, and I'll never use it. It wasn't as simple to make Mike and Jessica happy at the same time. I could see Jessica glowering at us. Ooh, throwing these words out there, Stephanie May, eh? You hot diggity dog. The numbers worked out in my favour, though. Lee brought 2 extra people, and suddenly every seat was necessary. It's interesting. Kicking in the front seats, kicking in the back seat. Fun, 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 fun. Looking forward to the weekend. And that works spot on. Because as we know, it's Friday, and you got to get down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend. You heard it here first for people. It was 15 miles to La Bouche from Forks, with gorgeous, dense green forests edging the road most of the way, and you're better than this. And the wide Quilayute. Can you explain what it means? How do I say it? Until that moment, we can't do anything else. I've never used it. I've never. You know what? I remember the first time I ever saw the word hors d'oeuvres written down. It was, or the most conscious moment. It was a few years ago. I was reading Bulgakov's Heart of a Dogs, and I asked my wife. I was like, "What is a hors d'oeuvres?" I was like, that's a really interesting. She was like, it's hors d'oeuvres, and I felt like an idiot. But that's what you got to do. So you got to make these mistakes. I'm not French. Anytime a French word comes up or a French author, people go, "Whoa, that's an interesting way of saying it." Do I sound French? I am not French. If you think the French speak and or sound like this, how offended the French should be, and I would agree. But similarly, as I cannot speak French, I doubt they could speak Welsh. So really, it's a win-win situation for both of us. We rolled the windows down, and the Suburban was a bit claustrophobic with 9 people in it. I tried to absorb as much sunlight as possible. I'd been to the beaches around La Bouche many times during my Forks summer with Charlie, so the mile-long crescent of First Beach was familiar to me. It was still breathtaking. The water was dark grey, even in sunlight, white-capped, and heaving to the grey rocky shore. What Pantone is this book? Like, you know what? Like, this is like just grey. Like, everything was just like mid-grey. Pantone grey. If you think like what grey is, Stephanie was like everything. That would be grand. Apart from ochre, we like ochre eyes and things, and eyes and hair, bone coloured. Oh, if your Bella's dad, Edward Cullen's father, because he's fit. Close up, every shade a stone. There was every shade a stone could be: terracotta, sea green, lavender, blue grey, dull gold. The tide line was strewn with huge driftwood trees, bleached bone white. Bleached bone. What a lovely. That's a good too. That's a bit of alliteration I'm all for. Bleached bone. Bleached bone white in the salt waves. I like that. That was good. I enjoyed saying that. Some piled together against the edge of the forest fringe. Not so much, too much fricative there for me. Some lying solitary just out of reach of the waves. There was a brisk wind coming off the waves. We're using the word waves a lot here. Cool, briny. Pelicans floated on the swells while seagulls and a lone eagle wheeled above them. The clouds still circled in the sky, threatening to invade at any moment. But for now, the sun shone bravely in its halo of the blue sky. We picked our way down to the beach, Mike leading the way to a ring of driftwood logs that had obviously been used for parties like us before, and there was a fire circle already in place, filled with black ashes. Erica, the boy I thought was named Ben, gathered broken branches of driftwood from the drier piles against the forest edge, and soon the teepee-shaped construction built atop of the old cinders. Have you ever seen a driftwood fire? Mike asked me. I was. God, you can't see it, darn it. 99. You've done it. Oh, it's a moment of history, people. It's a moment of history. This is a really long book. This is a really long book. Is anyone enjoying this? I got like 400 more pages to go. I don't even know how I could even get that. Oh, it's gonna be like Christmas time. I'm not enjoying sitting on one of the bone-colored benches, the other girls clustered, gossiping excitedly. Do you know what the worst thing is that if I do this entire series and just like and read the entire thing, it will be etched in my head. I will never be able to not like recall Twilight. I'll be like, oh yes, remember this bit with the chagrin. I don't know. Thank you, Anna. I think this is the only way I can make this interesting. This is a journey we will go on. We will learn many things about each other. We can make it an AMA. Who cares? I don't. Maybe this is like a vehicle of cathartic wanting, like just like an expulsion of the pasts, present, and possible futures of my life. Mike kneeled by the fire. We're just going to drop that there. We'll carry on. Mike kneeled by the fire, lighted one of the smaller sticks with a cigarette lighter. No, I said, placing the blazing twig carefully against the teepee. You'll like this then. Watch the colours. He lit another small branch and laid it among the first. The flame started to lick quickly up the dry wood. It's blue, I said in surprise. The salt does that. Pretty, isn't it? He lit one more piece, placed it where the fire hadn't caught yet, then came to sit by me. Thankfully, Jess was on his other side, as she turned to him and claimed his attention. I watched the strange blue and green flames crackle towards the sky. What's doing that? So green is calcium. What's making it blue? It's not like the chlorine, is it? Possibly. Yeah, it's just like, yeah. Why is it potassium? Why is it green? It's probably blue. It's probably grey. Everything's grey. Let's just go forward for it. On the other hand, I'd fallen into a lot of them. We've just skipped past it. We don't care. No, we'll go back. After half hour of chatter, some of the boys wanted to hike to the nearby tidal pools. It was a dilemma. Wasn't. On the other hand, I loved tide pools. What on the other hand? You like them. There's no dilemma. There's nothing. There's no complaints. They had fascinated me since I was a child. They were one of the only things I ever looked forward to when I had come to Forks. On the other hand, interesting, I had fallen into them a lot. Not a big deal. When you're 7 and with your dad, it reminded me of Edward's request that I not fall into the ocean. Lauren was one. Why is Lauren coming? I skipped it. She was like, she's not major in any of this, but like, why? Who is she? Who's Lauren? Why are you here? What's your? I need to know your backstory. You can't just like assimilate yourself into this naive mess of a friendship. I'm not having Lauren just swanning about you. We don't care about Lauren. Lauren isn't part of our crew. Um, most of the beach, most of the beach boys, besides me, most of the other girls, wasn't even beach on it. Besides Angela and Jessica, decided to stay on the beach. I waited until Tyler and Eric had committed to remain with them before I got up quietly to join the pro hiking group. Are they hiking? I think they've just gone to a rock pool. I don't think you're hiking. Mike gave me a huge smile when he saw that I was coming. Not get your head out of the gutter. This is disgusting. I won't stand for it. This is a book for teens, for young adults, of which I am. I'm just like a young adult. Yes, when you turn 18, you're a young adult, and you can only read Twilight before you pass your driver's test, just to prove that you have concentration, that you truly want it. The hike wasn't too long. I hated to lose the sky in the woods. The green. Why are you such a weird term to me? It's a bit like an oxymoron, isn't it? Like you can't like you're either young or you're an adult, and by the time you're 18-year old and you can do whatever you want. Americans are going to be like, "Oh, about 21." Just take your low gas prices. Like you got that. Your long open roads. You don't have to deal with the Rhondda Cunnintaff Council, okay? So you take your 21, you wave your flags, don't have to deal with Rhondda Council. Do you know what? Rhondda Cunnintaff County Borough, their hotline, the hotline does not bling, but by gosh, does it ring. I was on hold for so long, basically to be like, look, mate, I know I pay council tax for you to pick up my bins, but like, you need to give me a break, love. Like, I can't afford this. Like, I only put out a few bins by my next door neighbor. There's like 6 bins every week. There's me with 1. We can't be paying the same council tax. He's providing 6 times more work. I was like, my bin, it's full with the lightest of recyclables. It's like, mate, you could get a chihuahua to pick up that rubbish and take it to the recycling centre. I don't need Burly Jeff. Oh, mate, Burly Jeff. Let me tell you about Burly Jeff. So I come out barefooted, it's a little bit cold. Sometimes I don't wear a top, let's be honest, people. I'm in my own house. I don't know where do I go? I go, I Jeff, like I need a bin bag, and he goes, "Oh, they cost £1 this week." It's been I've been here like more than 5 years, and he continually cracks the same joke and laughs at it with the same gusto. And I think maybe for like a few weeks I was like, ha ha ha, this is funny. But now Burly Jeff, I'm like, yeah, I just need my bags. Like, I'm cold. I'm cold, my top's off. If I fall over, my nips are gonna crack the concrete, and there'll be a pothole. I'll have to ring up the hotline bling RCT. Mate, it's an absolute dilemma. It's an absolute It's a moment. It's a moment of my life that I never look forward to. Is getting binned off Burly Jeff. I only call him Burly Jeff. I don't know if he is burly, but he sits in his he sits there like that, driving the bin, um, the, the bin van. What's it called? Bin truck. The rubbish van. The bin van. He. Oh, Burly Jeff, have a hash brown. Get over it, mate. Like, just come like you'd think a guy who's clearly done this for like multiple years would come up with like some wise cracks. But I can't. What is this going? Where did we even come? Where did this even happen? Where did we? Oh, how did we get here? Twilight does many things. I'll say hi. But when's Boo Jeff coming over? Tomorrow. Tomorrow. I mean, why coming over? He drives the bin van. I'll see how he is. I don't know if I need bins. I don't think I need bins. I'll ask him for some bins anyway. He's pretty forthcoming after you do this. Yes. Oh yes, Burly Jam. But the only reason I do that is because he's like the ruling monarch of bin, like of bin liners. Like if I was to annoy Burly Jeff, he's just gonna be like no, and then I have to like travel like a bit further than like outside my house to obtain them, and then it's not worth it then. She just go, who went pound? Oh, there's a hike. They hike. Eventually, I broke through the emerald confines of the forest and found a rocky shore again. It was low tide, and a tidal river flowed past us on its way to the sea. Along its pebble banks, shallow pools that never completely drained teemed with life. Oh, Walt Whitman, eat your heart out. God. I was very curious to not lean too far over the little ocean ponds. Why? 70 Maya has a wonderful knack of like overcomplicating a sentence or just like trying to like wang verbs and adjectives. The others were fearless, leaping over rocks, perching precariously over the edges. I found a very stable looking rock on the fringe of one of the largest pools. I sat there cautiously, spellbound by the natural aquarium below me. The bouquet of brilliant anemones undulated carelessly in the invisible currents. That'll get your mouth working, won't it? The bouquets of brilliant anemones undulated ceaselessly. Undulated ceaselessly. The bouquet of brilliant anemones undulated ceaselessly in the invisible current. What a workout! It was grand. I was completely absorbed, except for one small part of my mind that wondered, what's Edward doing now? And trying to imagine what he would be saying if he was here with me. Finally, the boys were hungry. Well, I've read William Golding. I know where this is going. Peggy, Peggy, Peggy. I got up stiffly. We've spoken about this. No, I'm a big boy. I'm a big boy who can get his own bin liners. I don't need any of yous. I got up. Stop. I tried to keep up better this time through the woods, and naturally, I fell a few times. But I got some shallow scrapes on my palms and the knees of my jeans, mom's spaghetti. It could have been worse. I feel as though it's just a minefield of cultural references, all of this. When we got back to First Beach, the group we'd left behind had multiplied. As we had got closer to see the shining, bright black hair. That was really interesting, like breakdown on the page. Thought it'd be like Jack Nicholas coming through a tree. Where's Edward? That's probably a dream. There was copper skin of the newcomers. Teenagers from the reservation came to socialize. The food was already being passed around, and the boys hurried to claim a share while Eric introduced us while we were entering the driftwood circle. Angela and I were the last to arrive, and as Eric said our names, I noticed a younger boy sitting on the stones near the fire, glancing up at me in interest. I sat down next to Angela. Mike brought us sandwiches, an array of soda to choose from, while a boy who looked to be the oldest of the visitors rattled off some names of the seven others with him. All I caught was that one of the girls was also named Jessica, and the boy who noticed me was called Jacob. Or was it Jakob? Jakob Frank, the self-appointed messiah from the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth in the 19th century? What are you doing here? What are you doing here? Coming in with your cultish ways. Stop. Can you imagine if someone's like watching this, just read Twilight and being like, who's Jakob Frank? Oh, you got to catch up. That's a book. And somehow I think it will take me less time to have read the books of Jakob than it will this. I was relaxing. It was relaxing to sit with Angela. She was a restful kind of person to be around, and she didn't feel the need to fill every sentence with chatter. She left me. That should be the end of the chapter. She left me free to think, undisturbed, while we ate. And I was thinking how disjointed time seemed to flow in forks. Passing in a blur at times, with single images standing out more clearly than others. And then, at other times, every second was significant, etched in my mind. I knew exactly what caused the difference, and it disturbed me. I would do this. If I could get Karchuk to notice me, I'd probably do it. They're really short, the chapters. I think you could bap a few out. Do we care about any of this? Nah. A few minutes later, after Angela... We've skipped a paragraph. We don't need this information. A few minutes after Angela left with the hikers, Jakob sauntered over to take her place by my side. We're calling him Jakob. It's law now. It's Twilight law. Jakob Frank's there. He looked 14, maybe 15. He had long, glossy black hair pulled back with a rubber band at the nape of his neck. His skin was beautiful, silky, russet-coloured, like the potato. His eyes were dark, set deep above high planes of his cheekbones. He had just a hint of childish roundness left in his face. That's me. Altogether, a very pretty face. It's not me anymore. Oh. However, my positive opinion of his looks was damaged by the first words out of his mouth. You are Isabella Swan, aren't you? Oh, it was like being a first date mate. He doesn't know who you are. Of course, he's probably going to clarify. This isn't something you need to pick on the boy for. He's 14, 15. You'll know better than this. Have you seen teenagers trying to start a conversation or even trying to hold a conversation? The fact he's even like shot his shot. The fact he's even shoot your shot. He's giving it a go. Bella, I sighed. I'm Jakob Frank. It's Jacob Black, but I think we could just call him Jakob Frank, and I don't think anyone would notice. I'm Jakob Frank. He held out his hand in a friendly gesture. I bought my dad's truck. So you bought my father's truck. Wow. Okay, I said, relieved, shaking his sleek hand. You're Billy's son. I probably should remember you. No, I am the youngest of the family. You would remember my older sisters. Rachel or Rebecca, I suddenly called. Charlie and Billy had thrown us together a lot during my visits to keep us busy while they fished. We were all too shy to make progress as friends, of course. I'd picked up enough tantrums to end fish trips by the time I was 11. Are they here? I examined the girls at the Ocean's Edge. No, said Jakob Frank, shaking his head. Rachel got a scholarship to the Washington State, and Rebecca married a Samoan surfer. She lives in Hawaii now. Married? Wow. I was stunned. The twins were only a year older than I was. So, how old's Bella Swan? Hang on, wait. It's 14, 15, so she's younger. She's like 16. Is she meant to be 17? And this is the attitude that she has been dishing out all this time over 103 pages. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. I'm reading the damn thing. It will be on her watch. I love it. Sorry, how do you like the truck? I love it. It runs great. It's really slow, he laughed. I was so relieved when Charlie bought it. My dad wouldn't let me work on building another car till we had a perfectly good vehicle right there. It's not that slow, I objected. Try to go over 60? No. Good. Don't. Wow, Jakob Frank is a cult leader and a mechanic? How impressive. I couldn't help grinning back. It does great in a collision. I offered in my truck's defense. I don't think a tank could take out that old monster, he agreed with a laugh. Yeah, but Jakob Frank doesn't know the situation here. So he thinks you're joking and you're being like deadly serious. I don't think this is where like context matters. Because he's like, yeah, I suppose it is like, don't make them like they do in the old day. And she's like, no, I genuinely could have died. He's like, haha. So you built cars? I asked, impressed. My child is awake, so we're going to have to stop. We've learned nothing, let's be honest. Keep rocking in the free world. I don't know, get